also join the channel if you want to support in a different way. This basically gives you access to two exclusive videos per month, exclusive badges depending on how long you've been a member, exclusive emojis, follow the shout at the end of every single video. There's also a link to buy me a coffee in the description as well. So yeah, welcome back guys. I'm so glad to be back filming videos. Sorry if videos have been a bit less frequent. I've just been trying to recover, relax a bit, and I've just been feeling a bit extra tired. I've also kind of reset my sleep schedule, so I used to kind of do things quite late at night, but now I've just been zonked and I've been getting up earlier. But still, the problem is I'm not doing my video stuff in the morning, so it feels like I have less hours in the day, but that's not the case. But yeah, either way, the long-awaited, the video no one asked for, but that I am excited for. Hopefully you can see me fine. For some reason, the app I use on my phone is kind of frozen, but yeah, I am gonna have to use my phone for a screen record, I believe, or perhaps, yeah. So I'm charging up the iPad, but it's not actually fully charged, so I thought I'd at least get the intro started, etc. Warning, this is kind of going to be a long one if you're not interested in running, etc. Paris, France, and basically running and rambling, then not the video for you. But my thinking is I'm going to get it all done in this video, and then if you want to hear about the marathon, watch this video, I guess. And if not, I will try not to mention it in every single video because I've been talking about it quite a lot, just as updates, but some people do not care. So this is not clickbait, this is the video about it, and I'll try not to talk about it in other videos so much. So, and also I may have to bend down to get some time talking about on the floor, just different things related, etc. So I'll try to get straight into it, so it's not too, I have an exact plan for this video, but I guess we'll just kind of see. So first off, as you can probably tell, I don't know if you can see it right now because the image is kind of frozen, but hopefully you can definitely see it. This is the medal I saw, and I showed it in a different video, I believe, but yeah, it just says Schneider Electric Marathon de Paris 2024, and what I didn't actually notice at first, because I didn't actually look at it that much, is that it has the French colors, blue, white and red. And the interesting thing is I actually watched a short video about the guy who created this. His name is on the back, Benjamin Condoche. And apparently, I didn't exactly know what he meant at first, but I guess it's this little dots, and he calls them marbles, or at least the subtitles were marbles. It's like English subtitles, a French video obviously, and there were little, each marble represents every runner that's running the marathon, which is really cool, although he did say 50,000, but apparently there's more than 50,000, 54,000 perhaps, people that ran this marathon, so it is one of the bigger marathons for sure. Honestly, by the amount of people that run it, who knows, I'm not sure. It could be one of the biggest, honestly, but it's not like a major marathon, as in one of the world majors. But yeah, about the design before I get distracted as well, of course, the brand needs to allude to the Olympics, which are happening in Paris this year. That's the other main, well, it is probably the main thing over the Paris Schneider Electric Marathon. That's a big marathon. It happens every year though, but the Olympics is not every year, of course, and not always in Paris, so that's the main thing this year. So apparently it's an ode to that, so it's quite cool to see the reasoning, as well as I've got a shirt. You probably can't see it that well, but it's just a Schneider Electric Marathon de Paris, and his finisher at the side, little Eiffel Tower, and the same 2024, so 2024. So I quite like both of these. Yeah, the shirt does say finisher, and they give them out at the finish line. Your official bib actually is very organized. It has your name, or the nickname you want to be called by, or just my name, and your country you're from. So I had a little Irish flag, and it has your shirt size, so medium, and so it's quite handy. You don't have to start showing your phone or proving that you have a ticket once you've been to the expo and got your bib. To get into the start area, you just need your bib, and they're checking maybe like the time wave that you're in, as well as at the finish. I'm not sure if they were really checking, but they could, to make sure you get in the right shirt size, because they order them, maybe they order extra depending on what people put down as their shirt size. So if a lot of people go for the wrong shirt size, the people that actually picked, say, small, wouldn't have a small left. If people that were medium decide to go for small instead. So it does say all the information on the bib as well. On the medal, everyone got a medal, but as the shirt, you did have to go to a certain female, and they were like men and women shirt. I remember unisex, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know really where to start. I don't really know where to start in the story, but I'm going to start by switching over to my iPad for this, so I can use my phone to get some more information, etc. From my Garmin, which I have on for once, and as well, I got a few things, like a detailed time chip thing from the marathon. Basically, they have timing. The chip is in the marathon bib itself, and I'm kind of going to explain stuff like if you haven't ran races or etc. Stuff that you might not know. Not very complicated, but yeah. So there's a little chip in the marathon, in the bib at the back. So you should have the bib visible at all times in the race and on your person, on you of course. So when you go over, you don't really notice as you're doing the marathon, but I think they just have the timing mat chip things, and there's one at the start line and the finish line. So when you go over that, the chip is then, start, stop kind of thing. But as well, at the 5k, 10k, 15, 20, half marathon, 25, 30, 35, 40, and full marathon distance. So the full marathon distance will be the finish line. And yeah, they have there's something there's like a mat or something that, the chip will take note of the time, and it'll be related to your number. So this is basically two main reasons. But the main reason, I guess, is to prevent cheating, because if you had a quite good time, obviously this wouldn't work for the person who's coming first, because people are kind of quite heavily watching you, especially if you're in the top thins. They're getting more footage on them, who's gonna win, all that drama or something like that. I haven't watched the races, etc. And there's commentators talking about the people in the top whatever. But anyway, so it's just so you can't go off the course and then come back eat a sandwich and then go in the metro and go at the finish line. So it would actually be quite difficult to cheat if there's so many marking every 5 kilometers, and an extra one for the half marathon, because 20 to 21.1 isn't much. But I guess it's also to help you, I guess, pace yourself in the future as well, so that you can know exactly where you went wrong or when it's the pace started to increase. So of course I have my watch data, but that is quite a bit off, honestly. So it's interesting to see what time I came in the half marathon exactly, and how far off it is a full marathon. It's not just double your half marathon time as your full marathon time. There's a good bit of difference, but we'll see that in a minute. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to blather or blabber so much, because I could make so many videos in this. So we're gonna see how long this is after I do the marathon. I might do a part 2, or just for my Paris stuff, Paris recommendations, what to do in Paris, or just a story time kind of about different adventures, what happened, etc. Nothing too crazy, but I can't really think of anything random, but just stuff like that. So yeah, so trying to get into it. So but this one's gonna be about the marathon, I think, mostly, because it's gonna be really long, I think, otherwise. And that is the main reason I went. So I think I touched on these before, but maybe if you skipped me talking about it, or if you're new, just quickly, why Paris Marathon? Because it is, I wanted to do one that, like, a different country, something fun. Like, I've been to Paris before. I used to live in Strasbourg, which is like 2.5 hours or 2 hours, I'm not sure, on the TGV, so on the fast speed train. But I've only really been to Paris when going to the airport, etc. Just if I was looking weird, it's because the neighbour was walking his dog. He looked in. He don't think he ever looks in, really. I have the camera set up with the tripod, etc. But either way, and I'll probably still be like, this way is coming back, but oh well. But I haven't really been to Paris except going to the airport, or I went to London one time on the Eurostar, which goes under the tunnel, of course, you know. So I did go to Paris for a weekend with my dad once, but other than that, this was my first proper time exploring Paris. Also a good bit older, etc. And yeah, so it was great. We spent 8 nights, so I wanted to make it into a little trip as well, but I wasn't sure how tough the marathon was going to be, etc. I did read online that you should extend your trip after the marathon, not before, because if you do it before, you might be worrying about like what foods to eat, how much walking to do, etc., because you don't want to be on your feet too much before the marathon. Funny story is that I actually ended up doing more steps like the days before the marathon than the days after the marathon. Obviously I did the most steps in the actual marathon, but except for a few days after that I did more after, but we will see. We talk about it. It's just because a new place sounded fun. I would have done one in Ireland maybe for my first one, you know, because I mean I could make it do a faster time in the new city, because hopefully this will be my slowest time, but you never know, like if something else happens, etc., or if it's like a really hilly one, whatever. It's more about the experience, I guess. But yeah, the other one I would really want to do in Ireland would be Dublin, but of course Dublin Marathon is lottery based. They started doing a lottery based because it started to sell out really fast, apparently. I've just been looking up a lot about this. I didn't actually know this, but usually it's only the majors that are lottery based. So what appealed to me is one you could just sign up for. I'm not against entering a lottery. It's just that it was too late, because the lotteries, like for this year, have already happened like nearly a year in advance. For Dublin and Berlin, it's funny because London is also around the same time, but London is in April, except when it was delayed with COVID, unless they're going to start, they do it the lottery earlier for London. But yeah, so one that I could just sign up and enter. I nearly like didn't get in because I was just like thinking about it. I'm like, marathon's a big deal, Paris is kind of far, it's going to be expensive, etc. So I was looking up at the registration, all of that, thinking about signing up, and then all of a sudden the tickets, it said update, like all entries like are sold except for tour operators and charities. So there basically is when you can run with a charity if you commit to raising, like, depending on the marathon, it could be 1,500. London got up to be like £2,000. I don't know. And if you don't raise the money, it's quite a lot of commitment to raise the money. If you don't, you kind of have to, bring it out of your own pocket. Or if you don't do that, maybe just, not run at all, So it could end up being more expensive to pay from it from your own pocket. Tour operators, I looked into it, because I really want to run it, and I was thinking, even if I want to stay longer in Paris, I could just spend the minimum amount of nights in their hotel and then go for a cheaper option, like Airbnb, etc. But I think you had to spend a minimum 2 to 3 nights at this really high hotel price, but the ticket wasn't that bad. I think it might have been like 95 for the ticket, so they have certain tickets that then you can buy the ticket through them. It's not like it will be included in the hotel price. You're still buying the ticket, but you can't buy the ticket separately. You have to buy the hotel rooms, basically. Yeah, kind of a scam, not scam, but whatever. But kind of. But this is a good bit. This is a bit later. This is like a few days, a week later. I don't know. I'm just randomly going on my phone, reminiscing. So I'm thinking maybe I'll run the Milan Marathon, which is on the same day, but in Italy. I've never been to Milan. It didn't like draw me in as much. I think just because it wasn't as big. I don't know why I wanted such a big marathon, even though like there's benefits to small marathons too, because it wouldn't be as crowded. There wouldn't be as many people everywhere, you know, like this and stuff like that. But so basically, I went on my phone, pressed. It's basically how they go iRegister, and this was on the laptop too. I later checked, but it was in a different placement, so I didn't see it on the laptop. But like I didn't think to really click iRegister if there was a post saying all the places were gone. So I clicked iRegister on my phone, and I went in, and it was like going to buy a ticket. I was like, oh, okay. So of course the first one is my 5-star marathon experience, something like €390. I'm like, or maybe it was 400, I don't even know what it was, something way too expensive. Like you get all these perks or whatever, which are kind of just overpriced things that you don't need to get the ticket. I'm like, oh no. But I scroll down and there's suddenly a my individual bib, and that's like, it's more expensive than, you know, months ago, but it's the cheapest price on the list. The only other thing that was on the list was a duo bib, which is only, that could have still been there when I went, but it might have not been there. But it's like when you both do a marathon together, so the first person pays the full price and the second person is like free, but like, you know, you can still split the money with your friend, but it ends up being cheaper. So you both kind of commit to run the marathon, but of course you both get your own time. I think you can be in your own, you know, pacing, your own wave, etc., depending on your pace. It's just like I guess an incentive for friends to sign up together or something like that, because people like to run a marathon with a friend, etc. So that was there, but sometime, I'm not sure if it was then or not, but it said €0, only the duo bib, so only the second one was there. So like the first person would have had to already pay for both of them basically. So the second one could just like, they have to of course sign up through their own account. Once you get the ticket, you have to sign up with your details, etc. So I was like, okay, but my individual bib was there, so I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, what if this goes away? I didn't even see it on my computer at first. I was so excited, so I just like went through my phone. I bought that ticket on my phone right then and there, because I was like, this might not still be around. Later, I got my mom to go on, and right after I had bought the ticket, she couldn't get into my individual bib then, because it said like, everyone that could buy a ticket isn't queue, and sometimes like they have a timeout, so if you don't buy the ticket in a certain amount of time, it would go to the next person. Not a queue, but like the next person could then click on it. So I guess it just depended if people bought the tickets or not. But then an hour later I checked back, and it wasn't even like the option that they maybe get a ticket. I think it was completely gone. So I think I literally, except for the charity and tour operator, and I guess maybe my 5-star marathon, and that was later sold out pretty soon, which of course I wasn't going to get though, when that was €200 extra or whatever it was, more than €200 extra. I got basically one of the last tickets. That's my little story. So like I said before, so I was like, yes. Except if they're like sponsored or brand stuff, etc., like they already have the tickets and then they allocate them to who they want. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but yeah. So I was really happy with that. I had already started training. I think I was 2 weeks into training at this point, or 1 week. I started training for the marathon before I got the ticket, just, you know, in case, I think. And it was like the perfect, honestly, my plan was 2 weeks too short, so I did extra 2 weeks. That was probably the 2 weeks I started training early, but like, you know, it was good that I did. So yeah, then I started training, talking about running all the time. I followed my marathon handbook, a 16-week plan, 4 days running a week. I started with a 5 days a week intense one. I only, you know, hacked 1 week, and I was like, no, this is too much for a first marathon. I need to just like complete the training block, at least one. It's better to do 4 days and do week to week, get through the whole plan, than like do 5 days, start skipping loads of days or getting injured or something like that. I need something I could stick to, so 4 days was fine. And yeah, the only thing is that my long run may have been too much percentage-wise of my weekly mileage. So if I were training again, I'd probably do 5 days a week. And yeah, try to up my daily or weekly kilometers, etc. So I'm blabbing anyway. Yeah, so it was time to just train for the marathon, all of that. So, the weeks were going by, it was feeling long, but it didn't feel that bad. Like, the long runs were long, but I wasn't like challenging myself too much with the pace on the long runs, except when I did a few time trials. The number one thing I did for myself, there's like lots of things you need to think about, but number one thing I did was invest in shoes at the start of the training block. The most injured or soreness I had really was through, except for like pain in your legs after a super long run, was blisters at the start of the program because my shoes were running away at the start of January, the end of December, all of that. I was starting to get blisters on my long run that would not, repair or recover in time, and the bandage would like then fall off in the middle of the run, and it was starting to rub, and it was really sore. But one day I just kind of got fed up. I looked at my shoes, and there was like identical on each side, little breaks in the shoes matching exactly where my blisters were, and I was like, I think it's the shoes, because after a while, if you have recurrent injuries, the shoes could just be like worn down, nothing wrong with the shoes, they did their part, but shoes have a life. So I went a bit overboard. I actually got 3 pairs of shoes, but the race shoes I got after, and I've been really vigilant about, they are here, they're still a bit dirty at the top, but that's what I ran the marathon in. Vigilant about, not using my race shoes way too much, because they are I say more expensive ones. Honestly, they're like 25 more expensive than the shoes that I got, basically because I made sure I got good sales on all of them. I didn't pay retail price for any of the shoes I got. I kind of, store's worst nightmare was trying them all in store and then order them cheaper from online retailer. I did do asics official website, so it was cheaper on official website than in the like Elvery store. And then for 2 of my shoes I did Running Warehouse EU, but if you're in the States, they have a Running Warehouse in the States. Really good deals on those, honestly. Wouldn't really want to pay full price, especially for those. Those were like 200 new. I got them for like 133, I think, with shipping included. So, and they're actually 250 like when they're new out, but because the new model has come out since, they're cheaper. So I guess that's also a tip: never get like, unless you're like you can't afford it really. I don't think there's any point getting getting new running shoes like at the store, but not the newest brand. Like, wait for the sales. Doesn't mean you have to get like 5 versions too old, like they stop making them, etc. Don't have to go on Amazon, but just like online retailers have really good sales, especially when the new shoes are coming out, because the period that they stop making the old ones, so maybe you can't find them anymore. It lasts for a while, like you won't completely miss it, but after a while I did check, and I don't think I can get as good a deal as I got on these or on my other Adidas shoes than I did when I got them, so I got them at a good time. But yeah, just one thing you can really do for your feet is get those new shoes, because they were kind of clearing up my blisters. I think I still had to wrap them up a bit, but they never like reappeared once I got my new shoes. It was just the old shoes causing the damage. So yeah, do your research. I did a shoe video if you're interested in that, but yeah, they were really great. And yeah, I just kept going, kept doing basically you read what the plan is for the day, and I knew what I was doing beforehand, do the run, and that's about it. Nothing happened really bad. There was a few ones I wasn't feeling great for. There's like speed sessions or tempo-y ones you're meant to do. I was kind of doing all my kind of pace runs at a bit faster of a pace, but if you're not feeling your best, I think the one advice, depending, unless you're actually really injured, I think I didn't really have time to start skipping loads of runs. I did have those 2 extra weeks, so if something happened, I could, split up my runs depending on the rest of the plan, take some time off, etc. But in the end, I added 2 extra weeks, like repeated 2 weeks in the plan. 18 weeks of training, nothing happened. No day where I really skipped, except maybe like the rain once and something I felt in my ankle maybe one time, but I might have skipped one day for that. That's about it. And I think it was when I was wearing my old shoes as well, so it could have been triggered by that. So many problems with those, because it wasn't when I was running, it was right after I was running. A few hours later I was feeling it, and I think it was just the shoes had done their job and they were time for the bin, you know. So either way, the most important thing is to do your distance. If you're not majorly injured but just like feeling a bit under the weather, or not like too bad, you're just not feeling motivated, you feel like you could run but you don't want to go fast, just do the miles, do the distance. When you're starting out, especially beginner like me, honestly, speed work isn't that important. Someone in the running store even advised me just do the runs, don't think about speed just yet. But yeah, I still wanted to do it. It helps you get faster, it helps you get used to running at different paces, what it should feel like, etc. But nothing insane. And there was like certain days where I didn't do an interval day, I just, did an easy run, all of that. But yeah, I'm getting rambling. So we got to Paris. We were traveling on the Thursday, the 4th of April. The marathon is on the Sunday. I'm really glad I decided to travel on the 4th, not the 5th, because if it was the 5th, we'd have just be coming into Paris and being tired. We'd only have like one day to recover, go to the expo, all of that, and then after the marathon the next day. It was great since I went to the expo on the 5th, which was the Friday, which they, on all the emails, they tell you Saturday is more busy. I think it's like, this is pretty generic for all races, because if you can try to travel on the Thursday maybe, or if you're there early enough on the Thursday, go to the expo, or travel on the Friday, go to the expo on the Friday. I don't know. I don't think it'd be too bad, but I think it's nearly double as busy on the Saturday. Like, this is thousands of people. So a lot of people, like, Paris is a European city. A lot of these European marathons, people come on trains, so they finish work on the Friday, go on the train on the Saturday, go on the expo before it's too late. And so they're already, because you do need to go to the expo before you go to the marathon, because you need that bib. They do not hand them out on the day of. Do not lose your bib either. I don't really know what happens if you do that, but it's not good. But yeah, the expo was, you see, there's like a fun thing with the, like, a lot of marathons do. I think all of them, I'm not sure, it depends. I say all of them. I think it's different if you're doing like a really small local marathon versus like this big 50,000 plus people marathon. But they have all the names on the wall, which it's not actually that hard to find your name, because they do it by like last name, so it's not that fine. I'm almost taking some pictures. They have this like the starting and the finishing line where you take a picture in front of that, like a replica of it, which is kind of cool. But I'm like, and there's like a line and everything for the photos. And there's, I also got my bib for the Run for All, which I'll show you. This is not the bib actually, it's just like a generic bib, but this is the hat they gave me with their association. So it's about helping more access to sport for people who can't run in the regular way. I insert some text about it, or the organization if you want to look into it. But yeah, it's just a donation based. You donated to sign up, or if you couldn't give anything, you could just, share on social media, etc. The whole point is for all, so even people that don't have like literally any money, it's not even people that do the marathon, etc., can sign up and promote, and word of mouth, etc. So that was on the Saturday. So on the Friday we went to the expo, we got some vegan food and explored a bit. On the Saturday we started off early with this run. This run was meant to start at 9 o'clock. I think it was a bit afterwards, but I was a bit worried. We went to the right metro station. I was a bit worried about not finding it perhaps, but when I walked up from the metro stairs, right in front of us, literally covered in runners, and I was like, okay, I'm in the right place. So, and I basically had to walk in order to get to it. So honestly, I didn't think the road would be closed. I didn't know how big it was. I thought it was like a small little event. No, the road was also closed off for this. It was meant to be a 4-kilometer little shakeout run. Not just a shakeout run, because the whole point is it's run for all, so people could walk. People that couldn't do the full marathon distance or didn't get a ticket or that already lived in Paris could come along. Anyone, really, And yeah, so it was quite good. A nice environment to get the idea of running in Paris in the heat. Not that hot, but it was a bit hotter than that day, but it was quite early in the morning. And the only thing was, it was a 5k, and they advertised it online everywhere. It was a 4k. So I was a bit shocked when I said, not that it was like similar to a marathon distance at all, like 4k versus a full marathon, but I was like, I should give idea of running when I'm tired, so give a last push like I'd have to do in the marathon. So I thought I'll do a push after I reach 3k on my watch. 3k comes around, I do a push. I'm actually going quite fast for me. I'm approaching the 4k. I'm like, where's the finish line? Where's the finish line? Nowhere in sight. My watch is sometimes the watch, it's a bit inaccurate, etc. But we're approaching, 4.2, 4.3. I'm like, is this a 5k? 4.4, 5, 6, 7, and suddenly I see the finish line at some point. And when I stopped my watch, I think I might have stopped it a little early, who knows? It was 4.99. So that was measured as a 5k course. My watch wasn't a full kilometer off over like a few kilometers. It was only like in a full marathon, it was like 500 meters off, which is a lot for me. But that was a full marathon. This was like, a 4k or 5k really. So my watch wasn't off. It was advertised wrong. Even on the speaker, people were saying, like on the megaphone in French, like 4 kilomètres, like 4 kilometers. I was like, that was not 4 kilometers. It's fine. It's good. But I don't know if I would have signed up if it was 5k. I knew it was 5k. And I probably also shouldn't have been running so fast the day before the race. I did like a 5:57 average 5k, and that was faster than I should have been going. So when I knew that I was in my head that this is a 5k, not a 4k, I slowed back down to a slower pace. So honestly, I probably should have gone slower, but it's okay. So then after that, we went to this like a vegan bakery, which was really fun. Got some like breakfast, and then kind of explored a bit much. I wanted to go on a bateau mouche, which is like the boats in the river, because it's something where you can see a lot, but it doesn't require a lot of walking. But the Seine was actually flooded when we were there. Crazy, I know. And you could see it coming, like the water really high up. It was getting near cars. It was actually quite a lot of water, But nevertheless, we did actually get to the bateau mouche on Monday, so it's the day after the marathon. So that was also good, because I didn't want to walk a lot the day after the marathon. But even usually the top deck, people sit up there. The water level was so high, no one was sitting on top deck on any boats in the river for safety precautions, safety reasons, etc. Okay, so I am rambling a bit too much. I think I'll just get a bit into my pace, how the marathon went, maybe like the route, etc. We will see. So I think I'm just gonna screen record on my phone, and I might insert this separately or react to this. We will see, but I'll also insert some pictures if I can. So I might blur out my name in this, but I don't know if you're a detective online sleuth, it won't be so hard to figure out, but I don't think you can search people by finish time. But yeah, so my goal for this marathon starting out was to try to aim for a sub 4:30 marathon. Everyone says don't have a time goal with your first marathon, just have fun, etc. But I was training for a good while, 18 weeks, it became my whole life. Like, I was talking about it so much, it was like I thought about it like all the time. I kind of became like 4:30. That's a pretty good goal. That's a good goal for a first marathon. Let's try and get it. Why not? So my idea was to kind of go with the 4:30 pacer, but because of where I was starting, I didn't know how the waves worked, etc. All of this, I was in the 4:30 plus wave, so I thought, well, I'll just kind of see them at the start. But I was like waiting in the queue to go to the bathroom, which was insane, by the way. I still don't know what's the best way to go to the bathroom if you need to go in a marathon, because once you get into the start area, I waited in the queue. I thought the queue was for the bathroom opposite me, like the big line across, the street. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But no, I realized I was in the queue for the one on the same side that started out on the same side of me, but it was like a whole snake. There was, I don't know how many people, 100 people. I don't know how many people for one bathroom, like a portaloo. So I was waiting, but I didn't need to go that badly. I'll just say, like, I'll wait in the queue, and if I'm still waiting, by the time the marathon starts, I will just, like, I'm fine, So I kind of kept waiting, but I wasn't getting that close. So I was like, and people were already walking towards the start, so I was like, oh, it's fine. Your chip, how it works is only starts when you go off the line, with, I guess, some exceptions. Like, you can't just be like hours late and just start on the course, you know what I mean? But I saw people that were in my wave and etc. that perhaps had a different start time. Either they decided they couldn't do that time anymore, or they actually were late. I think, say if you had like a 3:45 start time and you started with the 4:30s, I think that's fine. It's just because they don't want people starting really late or going by themselves, or like, they have to give people, it's meant to be 5 hours 40 on the course from the last start time. So technically, unless they do DNF for people which just did not finish, for people that didn't finish within the 5 hours 40, I'm not sure if they do or not. Technically, you could start in a lower time goal and have longer on the course, and they won't kick you off. I think they are more about kicking you off. Like, they won't really know until you really do the chip. They're not tracking you individually. They just want to reopen the roads, etc., get back to normal, because, etc., it's been on long enough. And secondly, they had roads closed on 2 other occasions, at least. On Friday, they had the elite, the junior, and the elite 5 and 10K. And then on Saturday, they had the run for all, which, albeit, they were definitely shorter times to be closed. The marathon was literally all day, because you're meant to have 5 hour 40s on the course from the last finisher starter, which about the time I started, 4:30 plus category. But the elites and the wheelchair elites, first the wheelchair elites start, and then it's the elites, and the elite steps are 8 or 8:20. So there's already literally finished by the time I'm started. So that's already been 3 hours. The roads are closed before they actually started. So they're literally closed for ages, all day, basically. So they need to get the road open, etc. I was a little nervous because I saw on a TikTok that someone's mom was running the past marathon last year, and when one of the 4:30 pacers group passed the line, they literally closed it, put up the mat and closed it, and her mom was a little bit behind, and then you wouldn't even get your time properly or anything like that. Or it just seems so unfair, because there was a lot of people. I didn't finish last, if you know what I mean. I didn't finish first, but I didn't finish last. There was thousands of people behind me. Not thousands, probably there was thousands of people behind me. That doesn't mean well, actually, yes. I'm not sure. I was going to say they may started later than me at a better time, but I'm no, I'm talking about actual place that I was in the race, and there was still a good few thousand behind me. I'm not competing, a lot of them were also probably older than me, etc. But yeah, I didn't come last. But either way, I was a little nervous about that. But maybe her mom started in a later group starting, so maybe they'd already, there's different start times within the wave, so I wasn't sure about that. So my start time was actually 11:27. So basically my goal was to go with a pacer, but I didn't really see a pacer in my start, where I was starting, because the start time was 11:10, but as you can see, I started at 11:27:39 when I crossed the line. They said go before that, but they only actually starts your time when you cross the line. So thankfully everyone was actually walking towards that line, and they start running like less than a meter before the line. So I was like, thank God, because if everyone behind me wanted to run, I would gonna be forced to run a bit, or like trampled or something, you know. So I was like, thank God they're not running yet. So my goal was, I did adjust the pace in my head, or like calculate beforehand, to run a 4:30 marathon. You need a 6:24 or 6:23 average minute per kilometer, but you will be running more than that over the course, so a sub 6:21. So my goal and my time was 6:20 minutes kilometers, but realistically I think I had more meters than I thought. So I think to actually cross the line, I'll have to calculate this, I might have made a 6:18 average over the whole marathon, which I did not have, but at least I didn't start out too fast. You can't see it here, but on my watch, on the Garmin watch, I had 6:20 first kilometer, and of course that's calculating 500 meters extra, but the whole point of doing the recalculated average 6:18 or whatever is to account for running extra few hundred meters, because a few seconds doesn't seem like a lot per kilometer, but you know, once you times that by 42.2, you know, whatever times it is, it adds up, you know, every single kilometer 42 times, it adds up to you know, the few extra minutes or whatever it would take you to run the 500 meters. So it wasn't maybe not the best strategy, but I didn't see him with the balloon, so I started pacing myself with my watch. So I was looking at my watch quite intently. So this is by 5k on this, but yeah, so I started 11:27:39 a.m. That's the official marathon time. Of course, I'm using their timings. And oh yeah, another way to check is to also, if you had approximate times you should be crossing things, I probably should have, they have like pace bands, or people write it on their their goal times and the marker on their hands, etc. And then you can consult your watch time versus the kilometer markers. Apparently the most accurate ones are the timing ones, the ones that are actually chip timed, like the 5k, 10k, 15k, etc., because they are chip timed, and like they know this timing there, so there might be a little discrepancy in your kilometer markers, but the 5k and 10k will make sure to be accurate because they're important. So you can check the time on your watch versus those, not the distance on your watch, time on your watch versus those, as long as you do not pause your watch. So if you go to the bathroom, just don't pause your watch, because that will like throw off you're going for a certain time. Since even if you go to the bathroom, you know, your official marathon does not pause, of course. So yeah, pretty much. So I was like kind of checking that, but I didn't have them written down, so I didn't know exactly what I was going for. But yeah, so the first 5k, I did 31 minutes 54 seconds. My average was 6:23 per kilometer. So honestly, that's already more than I thought it would be. But I think that's about right, because for this to be the official time, I think I need 6:23 and not the 6:20, because this is the kilometer marker time, you know. So then the 10k was 1 hour 3:52 and 6:24 average, and I think that's the average over the whole course of the marathon, I believe. No, it's not. It's the average over that 5k segment, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So the 15k, 1:35, 53, 6:25. So I'm getting pretty close. It's literally 1 second between all of these. That's pretty good. But I'm already creeping up, and we haven't even hit 20 yet. So 20 kilometers, 6:31, 21, 6:55. So it's like the half marathon mark. No, that is not 21. I think it's 21.1. That's the half marathon mark. It's actually the half marathon mark, I believe they should. I don't know why they'd have to mark at 21 and not 21.1 if that's the half marathon. I think where they say like, well, like congratulations, half marathon, whatever, chipped in, that's that. So that's, I crossed the halfway mark point in 2:16:02, which, you know, I wanted 4:30, so I'm like 2 minutes 6 seconds too slow if we doubled it up. But as you can see later, that did not continue. So 25 2:43:03 6:56. So we hit 30. The last 5k, like 25 to 30, I believe. Yeah, was 8:07 average. 35 was 7:53 average, and 40 was 8:01. Finally, my saving grace finish as the last like 2.2 kilometers average was a 6:30 again, and I finished in a total time of 4:57:16, and that was really close to my watch because I started my watch. I stopped my watch a little late, so my watch said 4:57:19. So that was pretty good. So I had an accurate sense of time the whole way, because I started it literally when I crossed the start line. So, and the average of the whole marathon was 7:03. So I'm gonna also show you my little things in the app in my Garmin. I'm just gonna check in that this doesn't stop, so I'm not literally talking to myself. So on the Garmin, we can't really trust distance. We can see a little map. I don't usually show this because it's like near my house, but like this is in Paris. This is the marathon, of course. Like I don't live in Paris, so oh my gosh. So you can kind of like see the road here. Like it started near the Arc de Triomphe. Like there was like loads of people nearly up to there, down. Yeah. So Champs-Élysées, we ran. And it's funny because we were actually running where I was walking the other day. I thought it was kind of hard to cross the road the other day. There was a lot of people. Suddenly, all clear for the marathon. So run by Place de la Concorde, Musée du Louvre, all of this, all along the river, kind of, but up here, all the way out, kind of through the woods, like crossing the Paris-y line, the inner Paris, and through this woods for a lot, then coming in just around the half marathon, going back into Paris, all along the river, in through the tunnels, like, and down, and now cross into the other side of Paris, and through the wood a bit again, and finishing up. Yeah, we briefly went out Paris there again, the inner Paris, and finishing on the very edge, Avenue de la Fouque or something like that. Oh wait, laps. These will be like kind of what I'm thinking. Sub 6:20. These should all be like a sub 6:20. So yeah, so 6:20, 6:21, 6:16. Of course, these don't really count for the marathon timing because it's going to add up to 42.74. This is going to tell me a faster average than I did because I did extra distance waving in and out of people, but everyone does that. 6:16, 6:18, 6:11, 6:17, 6:17, 6:20, 6:19, 6:11. Honestly, I'm really proud of my pacing up until like 6:17, up until like 11, 12, 13, all those 14. I think after 15 it really slows down. But yeah, so 6:17, 6:22, 6:20, 6:23, 6:17, 6:27, 6:24, 6:36, 6:18, 6:26, 6:50, 6:25, 6:32, 6:48, 7:11, 7:16, 7:53, 8:21, 8:33, 7:58, 7:37, 7:31, 7:36, 8:06, 8:01, 8, 7:55, 7:18, 8:26, 7:58, 7:44, 6:17, and then 5:57 for the last 740 meters. Whew, I made a comeback finally, but not by much. So my average pace was 6:57, but my marathon was a 7:03, so this calculated the extra little bit of distance. And I said best pace, it says 4:32, but that might have been for like a few seconds, that doesn't really count. So the total time is 4:57:19. I stopped it like a second or two, maybe too late after. Moving time 4:57:08. So as you can see, I did like literally run the whole time. The only time I stopped for a second was to grab a bottle of water a few times, at the water stations. My average heart rate was 172. The total ascent according to my watch is 345 ascent and 351 descent. And yeah, I burned 3,090 calories, lost 3,000 3.424 liters of sweat. Oh my gosh. Minus 46 of body battery, and my heart rate was much higher in the first half and then slowed down as my pace slowed down, which was, I guess, good. And yeah, I was in my maximum, or what my Garmin thinks is my maximum, for 2 hours, and my zone 4 for 2 hours 52, and only in zone 3 for 4 minutes 24 seconds. I'm not really sure how accurate that really is now, but take it what you say. Anyway, it's getting quite long. Basically, it was a great experience. As you can see by the paces, I took a nosedive, so going into it, I was faffing for a while. I told myself, after I did a half marathon. What was it? No, this was ages ago. This was the end of January. I did a 10k. No, I did a long run, and I told myself, it was like 25.75. It was my longest run to date at that point. I told myself, let's try to do this whole long run with the goal pace for a 4:30 marathon. I tried, and I failed miserably. I kept running, but it was really hard at the end. Really, really difficult. Like, more difficult than the end of the marathon, nearly. Oh my god, like, it was tough. But you gotta think, from the end of January, the very end of January, like literally the 29th or something like that, I don't know when, until the beginning of April is like 2 months and a week. That I did literally training 4 times a week and was increasing my distances, broke PBs, got different shoes, like all of these things. So I was like, after that I was like, no, the 4:30 goal marathon is for a different time. I cannot do that, because I literally, I did it like 10k at a good pace, or even before 10k I was dropping off, and even like 13, 14, 15 I was going like 7 something, you know. So I was like, no, I could not do a marathon at this pace, you know. But I was entertaining the idea more when I did a few half marathon attempts, and my fastest was 12:59, so just sub 2:13. And honestly, yes, I did see that it was so close to 2:13, so I sprinted to get under, which I did. Of course, that's my watch starting and stopping. It's not like a measured half marathon course. That might have been a bit different, but with all the stuff I've read online, it was really tight to get a 4:30 from. I hadn't even broken a 2:10 marathon. That's like too tight, you know. I'd have to be like really fit. I'm really good at pacing to do like identical halves within a marathon. And the other thing I wasn't expecting was that elevation on the official like marathon website this year. It does say, I didn't see that, but 269, the elevation profile. I think, like, I'll insert a picture. It's literally this elevation profile here. I didn't really see this till later. I saw it was like a 144 meters elevation, maybe 160 or something like that. I told my dad, he was like, that'll be easy. Famous last words, guys. Famous last words. I didn't see this, which is 100 meters more, which is not that bad. 269 for, you know, a full marathon. I do train on a good bit of hills near my house, but as you can see, this was getting quite steep. 16 up until the half marathon. My paces were still like, I was still powering up those hills, I believe. But just later, like, it's okay. This honestly felt like more from like 25. It felt really steep. Like, I think I really felt that 25 hill or 26, all of that. But it just felt like you could really feel those increases and you couldn't really feel the decrease. But, you know, I think what you really felt was this hill near the end from 35 up until like 40. It's like you keep going up and your legs are already really tired, so it feels like so much hills. Like, you at the 15 to the 16, like, I think I did feel like I knew a hill was coming and I think I knew, maybe it was 16, I'm not sure, or 19, I'm not sure, if I knew someone that was coming like really late, like 36 or something, I knew to be prepared for that. Like, just like mentally, you know, you can't be like, oh, it's near the end, I know there's a big other hill. But once your legs are like already tired, you feel the hill much more near that end. And honestly, I did feel that downhill after 40, 41. It does go downhill, and you do feel that, and that's the only reason I managed to get a 6:30 average over the last 2.2 kilometers, because of that downhill. Finally, also, like, I was putting in a bit more effort finally. But from about half marathon on, or like 25, let's say 25, 26 onwards to 40 or so, there were like some kilometers that were better than others, but that was honestly quite tough. One of the toughest things I've done, running wise or in general, mental game. So yeah, I went closer to a 5-hour marathon than a 4:30 marathon, but no regrets. I'm glad I tried for the 4:30, because if not, I'd be wondering, you know, if I could do it. Now I know I can't do it yet, but I have hopes. Maybe even the next one. I know that's a big jump, like 27 minutes plus a little bit more. But people say you can do massive strides at the start. It's harder to get when it's like 3 hour to 250 or 3:30 to 3:20, under 4 hour, all of those. But from 5 hour to 4:30, especially if you're training a lot, it's possible. So, yeah, I'm really glad I did it. The things I'm most proud of in it is that not that you can't stop, and that you know, some people have a run walk strategy which works for them, but I just knew, because it was kind of painful, I was like, if I stop, I don't know if I'll start again. There was a few moments where I was like, you know, there's no separation between like the crowd and the course, like it's not like all boxed off. So I was like, you know what, I could literally walk off this course like right now, and like no one would really care, you know. I'm the one who would care the most. Like, maybe they'd be like, allez, allez, or something, which, props to those strangers, they were shouting your name that was on the bib. A random guy, I'm not sure who's doing the course or what, but shout my name, Alec, my name, on a megaphone. And I especially got a few when I started to speed up near the end. I was overtaking a good few people. I was like, yeah. I was just grateful I could finally get a little bit of speed back, like not major, but like it was honestly close to the speed I started with, and I was like, thank God. But I wish I could have done it sooner, but it was just so painful. Like, I don't know, just your legs are just already so sore, and then you're just going up like a never-ending hill. Like, it's not like it's really steep, it's just that you do not see the other side. And I've never done this course, I don't know when it's meant to stop, etc. Also, apparently in 2023 they changed the course, so only this year and last year it was like this too. There was more in the woods at the end. I think we went into the woods a bit, as I showed you on the course the second time, not the first time, because there's like 2 times we go through a wood on the opposite side of Paris, I believe, yeah. And apparently they've cut out, you come back more towards the street, so people don't want to like cheer on the woods as much. Well, they could go there, but it's just kind of farther for them. But it incorporates more hills, you know, going around the woods in the end, so I'm like, ooh. But I'm not sure if my watch was running up, but if it was right, my watch tracked 345 meters of elevation, which is way more than I was expecting. People still categorize Paris as a flat marathon, but I'm like, didn't feel flat to me. And I think a lot of people that I've seen on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, like just talking about their experience, etc., kind of agreed. Like, a lot of people were in pain from the end of the 20s, late 20s to all of the 30s, basically. It only felt better after like 41. I was like, I knew it was coming up, and there's no amount that would describe the relief that basically once you stopped running. So I think it's quite a feat to run for 5 hours, nearly 5 hours straight, and I still got that sub 5. Like, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I would have been way more disappointed if it was over sub 5. And it's funny because just me going to the toilet or something could have ruined I would have got over 5 hours. Just walking. If I started to walk like even for 2 minutes, I might have not made it, you know what I mean? So I saw a lot of people walking, especially up those hills, etc. Loads of people walking. It felt sometimes that everyone around me was walking nearly. And to think, you know, I was near the end of the marathon. Obviously people, you know, faster weren't walking, etc. And that can work, but I just knew if I started I would not stop. So I tried to power up hills later. I was nearly running or jogging at a pace similar to the guy walking next to me, but I just know if I stop, I don't know if I can start. So I just kept going, and I didn't stop until I crossed that finish line. And honestly, I was still walking after I crossed the finish line to get my t-shirt, to get my medal. And honestly, they do make you walk quite a lot. After I got out, I was like, where's the toilet? I couldn't find it. And my mom was like in exit E and I was in exit B, and I think she was like thinking I'd walk over there, and I'm like, Mom, I am not walking over to where you are. No. I found a bit that was kind of dirty. It was like on the footpath or whatever. It looked a bit muddy, but I was like, I just need to sit down. I sat down, made a face, and some other girl across from me, who looked much fitter than me, by the way, gave me like some look, like, you know, I recognize your pain look. I was like, somehow I managed to get up again. I did my cool down stretches, which I didn't see a lot of people doing, because I was like, maybe I'll feel better for it. And then I managed to get on the metro, and we had some shared pain with another woman who was like also struggling to get down those metro steps. I was going like a old woman. I was like holding on to the barrier, or holding on to my mom, who was like a good bit older than me, you know, to get down the damn steps. You know, walking like a 90-year-old nearly, but you know, it did improve. I'm very thankful for the fact that our Airbnb had a bath. Thank you. And yeah, I just had loads of pasta for dinner, had a bath. I had some wine in the bath because I wasn't drinking before the marathon. And I had a few celebratory drinks in the days, you know, next few days. We did manage to still do loads of steps around Paris, but I did limit in mainly the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. I took it easy. Wednesday we went to Disneyland. We did 22,000 steps. It's not exactly what I wanted right after the marathon, but you know, I survived. And I still, when I came back to Ireland, managed to do a pretty, like, nearly a week later, like on the Saturday, and the marathon was on the Sunday. The next Saturday I managed to do a pretty intense workout with my fit brother who I stopped over because it's his birthday party thing on the way back. He is quite fit, and it was me, my other brother, his friend, and him who was doing it, and slowly they were dropping off, like, oh my gosh, can't do it anymore. I accomplished. I was coming second to my fitter brother. Well, I say fitter, he hasn't run a marathon. I bet him to the marathon. He's more like yoga, strength kind of thing, but he had these ropes and this medicine ball, and it was quite tough. My arms were feeling it and my legs were feeling it a good bit after. But either way, that is the full story. I would recommend Paris Marathon, but I do not trust elevation profiles online anymore, because that was not 144 meters elevation, if you know what I mean. 144 meters elevation would have been easy. Like, I train on the hills here. Like, over an 8k I get 50 more. I don't know, 70, 80. I'm not sure how many. But that's only 8k, like 5 times that, you know, would, you know, add up to, I think, like, the amount of elevation, if my watch is right, there's more than on the runs around here. If I ran a marathon around where I live, which I consider kind of hilly, depending, I think I still would only be about the same as the Paris Marathon. So I was kind of like treating myself, or making my life less torturous, by going into town to run where it's flatter, in order to avoid running loads of hills for my long run. But I might have been doing myself a disservice. So I think in future I might just run around these country roads that have more hills. It's just because I knew it's way more painful with hills. Like if you do, there's like a 8k loop near me. If you do one loop, you're okay, you know. Once you start doing that second loop and you're hit with that hill at the start, you're like, my legs, ow. And like once I felt that, my pace like slowed down like so much. And then I turned around and suddenly I was flying down the hill, you know. So if I had to do like a 30k, I would nearly have to do like 4 of those loops. Nearly. And that would be like really painful on your legs, you know. I just want to make my life easier, but honestly, I think to train for that in the future, you're gonna have to, you know, do all your hills, your runs around here, or alternate between runs here and in a flatter area. I just didn't want to unnecessarily torture myself, so flatter running was much better. Or just pick a flatter marathon, you know. But it's hard because now I have trust issues with the elevation profiles online, because I'm like, you know, because I do want to get that 4:30 in my next marathon, but I hope I can trust elevation profiles online, you know. And I like, if it was this hilly, I think the 4:30 is a long way away. But if it's less hilly, like that might save me minutes, you know. So who knows? We'll see. But yeah, this is getting long. I'm gonna sign off. I'm just gonna tell you a few things, or show you a few things. Every year, as well as the t-shirt or medal and stuff, you get this at the expo, but like it's different depending on the year. It's like a backpack every year, I think. This is actually like a running vest, which was kind of cool to have, because I didn't have a running vest and they were literally giving me one the day before, so I didn't have to buy one. But then again, I didn't actually use that in the marathon. I bought this from Decathlon, so everything you really need is probably at the expo. Like they give you that. They don't give you those ones every year. It's a backpack depending. But like I didn't like the fact that you kind of, the gel places store the gels kind of in the back. I didn't want something that was really jumpy. You could fit water bottle in there, but it would be really jumpy. I did bring like a water bottle. They have water stations, no worry. But every 5k, so you have to last like 5k on that water. But I brought like a 750ml bottle with maple syrup, salt, and lime for electrolytes, and that's what I run with when I'm at home. I actually use golden syrup at home, but it just gives you extra carbs. I already have the gels, but I don't think my gels have the most carbs in the world, and I didn't want to get the really fancy ones. I haven't trained with them. But I think just drinking some sugar in your water makes your carb content, makes you, yeah, and the salt, you're losing a lot of salt, etc. So I'd have a sip from that every like 2 kilometers until I finished it at about earlier than I thought, I think, maybe, because it was 7:50. I think I finished it a bit like at 25k or something. I just assessed would I make it to the next water station or not, and I think I was like, I would have thought I would finish this and be like 26k or something. And I was like, do I really want to like keep going with that water for an extra 4k? No, I didn't. So I kind of tossed the water bottle a little soon. In the actual bins, I did throw all my bottles and gels in the assigned bins, which not everyone does. Marathons create a lot of waste. So yeah, do try to do that if you can. Put stuff in the bins. And yes, I got this vest from Decathlon. It's just, I'm not sure if it's purposely for running or what, but yeah, it can fit. It's your phone in a zipped pocket. There is a limit to how much stuff you can fit in, but I fit 6 gels in here that are a little big. So I fit 3 in the main zipped pouch of my phone, and there's a bigger side and a smaller side. So I fit 2 in the bigger side, 1 in the smaller side. They do tend to like fall out a little if they're like upside down, like if you put them in first. So I recommend putting the belt on first, then putting the gels in, then the gels had no worry of falling out. And I recommend not putting them all in the zipped pocket because it was getting really bulky if you did that. I did practice like running around the kitchen in the Airbnb like the day before the marathon to check if everything would fit like right, or I think it was before my long run, or before I practiced it on the Run for All make sure to do it as tight as you can without like cutting off circulation, because there's a big difference. Sometimes I use that to walk around the city, and if I put it a little looser and did a little joggy jog, or like I was going to cross the road, it was the day after the marathon, I was going to cross the road and to catch up my mom or to get it before the light turned red, I tried a little jog, like a second, and my body was like, no, too early. But I also felt the belt like bounce up a bit, and I was like, what? So I think what's comfortable walking is a looser pace. If you're wearing it all day, looser like fit, but do tighten it a lot if you are running, because I just don't want the bouncy feeling, and I prefer to hold the bottle than have it bounce, 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 bounce. I find that really annoying. But yeah, I did just struggle to think about the whole pocket gel situation, because on my long runs I was just putting them in my pockets, because in my like rain jacket pocket or my top pocket or even my pants pocket or stuff like that. But because it's so warm in Paris compared to Ireland, etc., even now it's the right weather for running in shorts in Ireland. I didn't have like good shorts with pockets or short sleeve stuff with pockets, etc. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been kind of a long video. I think this is a good opportunity for me to pre-film another video, etc. But honestly, my voice is like kind of really sore. I don't think I was even recording that when I think I was sharing it. Oh, whatever. That I think I might just do my next videos tomorrow when it's like quieter, when I'm like have some more free time tomorrow. Might just relax for this evening or finish editing, etc. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know this was super rambly. Maybe it helped you. If any questions about the Paris Marathon or anything like that. If I will run the marathon, I believe I will. Not the Paris Marathon. Won't be my next one, you'll say, but I'm nothing against running it again. I think it's maybe for when I'm trained up for those hills a bit better, and also I just want to experience new places, etc. All of that. I like the idea of like going marathon hopping around the world, using the excuse to run a marathon to go on holiday. Then again, it's not the best thing, because even though we had 8 nights, a lot of it was marathon focused, worrying about marathon, not doing enough steps, what to eat after marathon. Ow, my legs hurt. I don't want to stand, because when you're on holiday, you do so much walking. Even if we took the metro like loads of places, we still did like all our daily steps literally every day and more. So just naturally getting from place to place, you just do more walking than when you're at home, I think. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'm already getting back to running. I'm training for a 10k, nothing too major. It's a 5-day-a-week plan, but the running has nowhere near the volume of a marathon plan. So yeah, I'm doing like the Nike 10k plan, but I'm only going to do a few weeks at least for now, and we'll see how it goes. The 10k is actually quite soon, but yeah, I might use that qualifying time if I get the sub 60, which I